So now I'm going to turn it over and go back to Annalisa to finish our presentation.
Yeah, so we have this Edwards Aquifer Protection Program. I work with groups from all over the state and actually in land conservation from all over the nation. This is considered one of the best programs for, you know, basically the concept of paying landowners for the environmental services that they're giving us. They are providing us with clean water. So it's particularly heartbreaking that at this time we've got, it looks like City Council, they've already put pre-K for SA on the ballot for November. That's 1/8 of a cent. And now they are proposing to put a workforce development and VIA for the remaining 1/8 of a cent, which means that there will be no funding if both those ballot measures pass. There will be no funding to renew the 1/8 of a cent that's been funding the Edwards Aquifer Protection Program and the Greenway Trails Program, both of which are like model programs and incredibly popular. This last time that we approved it, we also got $10 million for research for the Edwards, which has been amazing because what that's done is fund a lot of research on how we can best protect the Edwards. For example, their Edwards Aquifer Authority and some partners got some funding for something we've wanted to do for years, which is how can you safely put out a fire on the recharge zone. So it's brought all these parties together. The groups that are doing the research meet on a regular basis, so that has just been wonderful as well. So it's particularly heartbreaking to think about losing these two programs. Other areas fund through bonds, and there are green bonds. If we do lose these, that could be something that we go for, which would have to also go on the ballot for voter approval. But we feel like we have asked for this presentation to be made to City Council so that we could have a very full and nuanced discussion on what are the needs of our community. And to date, we really have been pretty much cut out of that discussion. So why is this important? Also, like I said, we're loving the hill country to death. So the hill country that is getting developed right now are those areas in the contributing zone that Ron's talking about are in need of protection. Next. So what we're seeing here is in these hill country areas, this is a little bit dated. I need to update, but this is among the fastest growing areas in the entire nation. We are always in the top 10 with these counties that are out on the contributing zone. Next. So if you look at this, I just love this slide because it's talking about growth patterns. So if you had all the world's population concentrated in, say, how Paris is developed, how people live in Paris versus at the bottom there in Houston, that's a really interesting. So we are like Houston, and that's pretty indicative of how development is going in the contributing zone area that we want to protect as well, where you're having a lot of single family homes spread out. And what we're starting to see actually on the recharge zone and the contributing zone is 6 houses per acre has become pretty standard. Next. So this is, you know, some of the problems we're grappling with is San Antonio had chosen to protect our water resources, and the Edwards is still our primary source of potable water. We chose, instead of regulating, because frankly our water quality ordinances for the city are not that protective compared to Austin's or San Marcos, and the states are even less protective. So we have, this population and urban growth predicted to continue in these environmentally sensitive areas. We have multiple jurisdictions with no coherent plan. For example, you can see no land use powers in the unincorporated areas. So in the contributing zone, there are no jurisdictions that can limit growth. Like, if you're outside of a city, you're at luck on that. And then we also have a lot of infrastructure projects like roadways and all that are encouraging growth in these sensitive areas. Next. So you can skip that one. We do have certain things, we can skip that one. Those are slides of things that are threats to the aquifer right now, given that so much recharges in stream beds. What we're seeing a lot of is permits to discharge sewage effluent from developments into waterways that recharge the Edwards. Next. So, we have some issues with protection, but really our program that we've had for the Edwards Aquifer Protection Program has been an incredibly successful strategy, and we feel that it's one that should be continued. Next. Oh, so I think the message that we need to get out, City Council will be voting either on the 13th or they have to vote by the 17th whether or not to put this, what they're calling the compromise initiative, on the ballot for next November, which is that a block of money would go to workforce development, and then after that it would go to GEAA in perpetuity. So that means for that 8 cents, if both those pass, it would not be available ever for our current programs, the Edwards Aquifer Protection Program and the Greenway Trails. And then we have the other 8 cents, which is pre-K for SA. And there's not been any kind of a robust discussion of looking at what are prioritizing our needs, or are there ways where we could share some of these monies and still have sales tax for the EAPP and the Greenway Trails? So I think we have a very short window of time for anybody who's interested to contact their city council and let them know that they do care about these programs. And if both those ballot initiatives are put on there, in addition to, they've already decided to put pre-K for SA on there, then the only option we have left is to let people know that if all of those ballot initiatives are approved in November, you will essentially be discontinuing the Edwards Aquifer Protection Program and the Greenway Trails program.